Okay, finally we're going to go into the financial information tab. I saved it last because it has many fields in there, many calculated fields that need that the fields that need further explanation. Um, and it has to do with financial information maintained for this particular customer. Uh, Looking at this, the first field that we see here is the terms. Terms, as you know, is how you define the payment term for this customer, whether it's net 30, COD. For example, COD being you have to pay on delivery, cash on delivery. You expect the customer to pay for the service right at the time you deliver the part. Prepay, that means they have to pay ahead of time before we even start working on the job. Hold, that means like don't do any more work for this account. The account is on hold because either they have not paid in the past or there's some kind of issue pending. So hold is to put the account on hold. Net 30, common ones are net 30, 45, net 60, 90, with sometimes discounts built in. For example, in this case here, you have a 1%, 15, and 30. What does it mean? It means if the customer pays within 15 days of the invoice, they get a 1% discount. If they pay within 30 days, then there's no, the normal terms have 30 days to pay, but if they pay early, they get a discount. The discount 1% or 2% encourages customer to pay earlier, and having cash, payment received early is better for any company. So that's how you set up the terms. Um, you see wire transfer, wire being via electronic payment, credit card, CR card, a CR check by check or by credit card. So what those terms, what they are. So we're gonna say, okay, we're gonna go net 30. Okay, and you can see the system fills in the due days, the discount percentage automatically for you. Okay, so due days 30 days, discount day, that's how many days. You can look at the field, this day, that's the field name. 30 days, they get no discount in this term. 30 days, net 30, you don't get any discount at all. Credit limit meaning how much you allow them to owe you at any given time, like open balance. If I give them a $10,000 limit, that means that's the maximum the open order can be. If they try to order like a 20,000 or 15,000, the system will prevent that from happening. The system will warn you of customer exceeding the credit limit. Okay? If you put zero in, then there's no, well, if you put high number in, then there's no limit, of course. But if you set a limit, then that's what it's going to be, the credit limit. Okay? So if I set 1,000 and you're trying to put an order for 2,000, the system will warn you of not possible. It's not. That's not possible. Yeah. No. No. Zero is. Well, I won't warn you. I think it ignores that. If zero means, I think there's no limit. Yeah. True. No limit. Right. Yeah. It's set to zero. Surcharge. If they a surcharge mean if you want to charge them like an additional percentage of charge for each work that you do, each invoice that you generate for them. That's a surcharge percent. So let's say 5% surcharge for this customer only. Then every time you do work for them, there's an add-on 5% surcharge on the work. Okay, and this checkbox has to be checked in order for that surcharge to be kicked in. If you don't check this, the system won't apply the surcharge. Even though you put a percentage in there, it will not charge the customer. Every job. Yeah, the surcharge is for every job. Okay, billing type. This billing type is for automatic billing, whether how the invoice is going to be generated, printed, and submitted to send to the customer, submitted to customer. Meaning, if the emailing automatic emailing module is activated or active or available for the customer, they have to buy that module. And we specify email here. What happens is that when you generate an invoice for this customer, it's automatically submitted for email. So you don't have to print. You don't even have to print a hard copy. If you select fax, then and you have a fax server, when you generate an invoice for this company, the system behind the scene automatically fax it out. So it saves them time, stamp, envelope, processing time, all that. So that's an add-on feature. It's not built in, it's not part of the default system, but they can buy an add-on module. It's called Beat. It's called batch email invoices, and that allows them to take advantage of the automatic emailing and faxing of invoices to this customer. So if that feature is activated, you can select email, put in this company email address where the invoice will be sent to automatically, like AP, for example, AP. I'm sorry, AP. Yeah, AP at, let's say, control mfg.com as an example. Or if they have a fax number, they can put in, for example, 508 777 0722. Okay, something like that.
So some customer they don't have this feature for the version.
Nothing happens. You can fill it in, but
But when I do the invoice, it also have like a feature convert it to PDF format, and then they have to
manually.
manually email it.
Yeah, but that takes time, and you do only one. Some company may have lots of invoices,
Okay.
and you do with this feature, all those invoices go at once in one email, one email. Whereas if they do it manually, then you have to do one
One go.
view, send. That takes time. So we want to save them time. We have a feature, a module to help them with that. Okay. Federal identification number. That's the tax ID or federal ID number assigned to each company. So 04 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, whatever it is. Federal tax rate. That's the tax rate. Sometimes they don't have any tax rate. Sometimes they do. You put that in. Depends if it's service. There's no tax, but if it's depends on the state and the local tax government rate. These fields right here, sales and payment information, is automatically calculated by the system. So each time you, let's say you receive an order and you generate one invoice for them, then it will show up how much they purchased, how much they pay for last year. For a new account, most of these are going to be zero because there's no history. But as you have more and more history, these fields will reflect the actual value of that current year. So current balance, year to date, that's year to date. They added, when this company was added to the system. Last payment amount, that's when they last pay, when they last made a payment. Average payment days, that's useful. The system will calculate each time they send a payment in. The system will calculate how the average number of pay days associated with this account, whether they pay on time all the time, or whether they always late, or whether they always pay early. So those are very, of course, it's very important in making decision and in
So
extending credit and so forth, right?
so the average payment day is usually like how long they pay it,
Yeah, 30
how long
days,
it take them to pay
right?
when they receive the
When we
invoice.
see the invoice. So average, we set the term of 30, but it may take them 29 days to pay, or 15 days to pay, or sometimes 45 days to pay.
Okay.
So you say, okay, our term is 30 days, but they're consistently late. So next time you reduce the credit limit, or whatever the case may be, reduce the credit limit, or change the terms to COD and force them to pay on time. Pay, okay? Or put them on hold, or put on more charges, additional charges. Last quote day, last job date, that's when the last job was ordered. Last order. Last quote day is when the last time we quoted this customer. Last ship day is when was the last time we shipped something out to this customer. Last invoice day is when we last billed them. Last payment day is when the last time the customer was um, sent in the payment. Okay? Day create, revision date, time, and buy cannot be changed. It is maintained by the system. So when you add a customer, it's automatically do a daytime stamp. I mean, there's a mismatch here, but it's probably because this is a demo. It's a demo record, so it has a daytime stamp of when it was added to the system, who modified. Let's say if I modify it today, if I go in and change something, it will reflect that, and that's who made the change, when when the change was made. So if they need to track back and say, okay, who changed this account, it shows when and who.
The create date cannot be changed.
cannot be changed. These cannot be
So that's
changed.
when a new customer is added.
Correct.
Okay.
Every time you add a new one, that's a new dates timestamp. Customer active and active. If let's say the company is out of business, and or if they don't do business with us anymore for after a number of years, then you mark this and say, okay, this account is inactive. This, in other words, if you change this, then behind the system will keep track of who flagged this account as inactive. Because keep in mind, this application is used by many people across the network. Okay, and depends on who has the rights to do what. You're not just by default doesn't mean by default a user doesn't have access to a certain task will not be able to do it.
This is probably for the purchasing department.
Or accounting.
Accounting.
But this feature is for accounting department. You don't want anyone to go in and deactivate a customer, okay? Or anyone for that matter to be able to see this kind of information. I'm going to demonstrate that to you right after this video. This concludes the uh, financial information tab for the customer edit screen.